service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily is a service of CNC Worldwide and Jib Jab. Greetings. Your full AccuWeather forecast is right up on top here on your CNC local news page. That's worth checking out today. We're in for a spell of unusually warm weather, and we could set a warm temperature record for October if things turn out according to what the forecasters say. Remember the Uncork New York campaign? It's about to get a makeover. Governor Cuomo says the state will put its money into a marketing drive to promote New York wines, beers, hard cider, and spirits. And he also says he'll push to streamline New York's rather arcane alcoholic beverage laws to reduce business costs for the brewers and for the winemakers. The governor hosted New York's first wine, beer, and spirits summit in Albany. Dozens of producers attended, plus farmers, industry officials, and tourism experts, all looking to solidify New York's position as a leading hub of beer, wine, and spirits production and associated tourism. New York has more than 450 wineries, breweries, distilleries, and makers of hard cider. More are opening every year, and they drive considerable tourist trade in areas like the Finger Lakes. Wine, beer, spirits, and cider add up to more than $22 billion to the New York economy every year, and they support tens of thousands of jobs. New York is third in the nation in wine and grape production, and it has the second most distilleries. Governor Cuomo said the state will put $1 million into an advertising campaign to promote the alcohol industry, boosting that to a total of $5 million as private sources agree to match it. They'll hold specialized marketing events and work aggressively to find other ways of promoting New York State-produced alcohol and spirits. A one-stop shop will be set up through Empire State Development so the industry has a single point of contact with state government. Right now, alcohol producers have to deal separately with agencies including the State Liquor Authority, Department of Ag and Markets, Tax and Finance, Labor, Energy, Health Department, and the State Transportation Department. The governor is not ready yet to support selling wine in grocery or convenience stores, but he says the state will allow manufacturers to make different kinds of alcohol in the same building under one license, which is illegal right now in New York. The Utica area man accused of murdering a State University College at Brockport freshman pleaded not guilty Thursday morning in State Supreme Court in Rochester on charges of second-degree murder. Clayton Whittemore of New Hartford is accused of beating Alexandra Kogut to death in her dorm room last month. The 21-year-old Utica college student was visiting his 18-year-old girlfriend at SUNY Brockport that weekend when he allegedly killed her following an argument. According to a grand jury indictment, Whittemore told a Monroe County jail deputy that he just snapped and beat Kogut to death with his fists and a curling iron. He's been remanded to the Monroe County Jail without bail, pending another court appearance in December. Two men were sentenced in federal court in Rochester this week in unrelated child pornography cases. U.S. Attorney William Hochul says the first case involved 31-year-old Robert Vogler of Rochester, sentenced to 3 years in prison and 20 years supervised release by U.S. District Court Judge David Larimer. Vogler was charged after the FBI got a search warrant for a residence he shared with another man and found computers with images of child porn. Vogler admitted to downloading them from the internet. His co-defendant, Donald McIntyre, was sentenced to 3 years in prison and 15 years supervised release back in July. The second case involved Anthony Howe Sr., a 48-year-old Wayne County man from the village of Newark. He was convicted of receiving and possessing child pornography and was sentenced to 15 years in prison, followed by 20 years supervised release, also by Judge Larimer. Howe was arrested following an investigation by the Newark Police Department. East Rochester police say a woman may face charges after leaving her 10-year-old son alone in her car with the keys. Police say the boy started the car at the Country Club Plaza, put it in gear and took a drive, during which he hit a pedestrian who tried to stop the car, then sideswiped a parked car, and then hit a utility pole. That's what finally stopped him. The Good Samaritan wasn't seriously hurt. Police are investigating. They say they may bring charges against the boy's mother. And the town of Rush man has pleaded guilty to a rather unusual case of assaulting a U.S. Postal Service employee. Mark Joseph Rossell, who's 53, bit a postal inspector in an incident a year and a half ago. He pleaded guilty in U.S. District Court in Rochester to assault on a federal employee, which is a crime. Rossell faces up to a year in prison when he is sentenced in January. To the right of this player window are links to these and other stories. At the bottom of the page, links that you can use. This is a social media news website, so you can directly post us your news ideas, shout-outs to people you want to salute, and we also want to see birth announcements, wedding announcements, business openings, all those things, because we are a local news resource for you. Next news as it happens, updates when necessary. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.